so the next step that I want to do is rig up the fuel delivery system. Starting with this. So I made this plate, and I'll show you where it mounts in a minute. But I made a plate, just a separate plate that I got my pre-filter, my pump, and my regulator all on one centralized location. And I got this set up so I can pull this down real easy. If I need to replace the pump or the filter, or, service any of this, it's very easy to get to once you pull it down. I know what you're thinking. Some of you out there, oh, he did an external fuel pump. Oh, well, gonna try it. I've never done one of these before. I've wanted to for a while. It's a truck. This will be out past the rear end, so it shouldn't be a noise issue. But we'll see. We'll let you know how it goes, how I like it. I haven't tried one of these yet, so why not? The last time I did one of these regulators, however, I did the one with the AN fittings right on it. This has the AN fitting adapters, and I will tell you, I fought with those AN fittings to get those to seal up. And the reason they wouldn't seal up is because they didn't have a hex on them. It was like a round surface right here. So these adapters have hexes. I should be able to get these to seal up okay. So that's my plan. I'll show you where this mounts next. Stand by. Okay, so that's how that mounts in. I just put it in with two flathead 5/16 screws on two on each side. And the idea being those are low profile because the tank does slip over that a little bit. I probably could have put the screws back here a little more conveniently, but this bracket was kind of interfering with all that. So, doesn't matter. It's in there now. The idea being, I'm going to run the input from the tank is going to come down through here, and then the output from the regulator is going to come around here and out through this conduit. So, we'll carry on. Next thing I got to do is get the tank mounted up. I haven't actually mounted that in there yet, so we'll get that going. All right, so let's have a look at this. I'm getting ready to set this tank on, and I don't have holes drilled in the flanges yet. So what I've done is I put some set screws in each one of the riv nuts, and now I'm just gonna set the tank on there, square it up, and once I get it exactly where I want it, I'm just gonna tap it down, which should mark the bottom of those flanges. Hopefully. We'll see. Again, this is a RCI tank. Wayne down there at RCI, great guy. If you need a custom tank built, that's the way I would go. Super reasonable, nice people. So I'm just spacing this 3/4 of an inch off the rear rail, so it's consistent. Then I'm going to even it up side to side. It's about a 1/2 inch on each side. Check the back one more time. Yeah, looking good. Okay, so now I'm gonna find my old, where'd it go? The old rubber bonker. God, I got a mess going. Stand by. Okay, I'll use this. So now, and I should get a nice mark for each one of these, hopefully. pretty close to the edge. Okay, let's see what we got. Okay, so now I can easily see each location. Now I can drill and make my holes. Okay, there we go. Drilled the holes out. They all line up perfectly. Scratch the tank. I got to touch that up. Like an idiot. Okay, and then I'm going to use 5/16 body bolts. Now I have a, you probably saw there's a strip of that rubberized material. I'm not even sure what it is. It's kind of like, it's the stuff that goes underneath windshields to seal windshields off. I'm drawing a blank right now. But I had a strip of 1.5 inch wide roll of that stuff that I hadn't used from the Firebird, so I figured now would be a good time. Okay, so that's that. I'm just going to snug those up now, and I'll bring you around and show you how that all fits. And there we go. Now that's not going anywhere. Shouldn't squeak. Very nice. Okay. Looks good. You got plenty of clearance on everything. And again, it's serviceable. All I got to do is lower that plate down, and I have it right in your hands. So let's we'll start working on the fuel line up to here. So I need an AN10 fuel line to go from the filter down to this pickup point over here in the rear corner. And let me show you how I'm going to do that. Here we go. So I put this up in the air. This is my pickup point. I've got a 180-degree fitting here. I wanted it in the back and low. I probably could have done it out the side, but I was worried the hose would get too wide. So that keeps it nice and tight. The hose is going to come right through here and pick up on that 90 right there on the pre-filter. Now, one of the rubs with these filters, I mean with this pump system, is you got to be below fluid level when you prime it. And I will be. I'll just make sure I have enough gas in the tank to prime that. To start with, should be fine. Once it's got fluid in it, it'll prime no problem. But the first time when it's coming from dry, yeah, I'll just make sure I have over half a tank. So yeah, now I got to build up this hose. Again, on my fuel lines, I use PTFE hose. It has the Teflon liner. It's very chemically resilient. It won't come apart or start to break down over time. And that's really what I'm looking for in a fuel line. So that's going to be my first run from there up to there. Okay, that's sorted. There you go. Line comes out. Put one retainer right there. Keep everything nice high and tight. Then it goes up into the filter. Filter to the pump, then pump to the regulator. Gadook. So yeah, I like it. That looks good. Very happy with that. I guess next step is I'm going to bring it, might as well finish up the fuel line. I'll bring that right up through to go through the hard line, bring that down and get it up front. So we'll see how that goes. But that's a tomorrow job. So far, so good. And then I got to put all the elements into the tank, the filler neck, and the other parts to the tank. So, yeah, we'll just continue right on with the fuel system. So, before I run the hard line up to the front, I'm going to do this return line. So basically, this is the return from the regulator, and that goes right here. Pretty simple, just a quick loop, no problem. So I'm going to do that. This side is the vent, and I've got a rollover valve and a vent for that. So we'll do that probably as well. So I'll show you. Okay, so what I'm using for my fuel line is PTFE steel braided, and then there's a nylon braid over the top of the stainless steel. Come on, come off there. So anyway, that's what I use for my stainless steel, for my braided lines. There's a lot of questions on this stuff, but it's pretty straightforward. Okay, so I'm going to put a 90-degree fitting here, and I just kind of screw it on here so I can get my lengths right. And again, this is for the return line. Is this buggered up? Looks like there's a little bit of, there we go. Okay, so I'll tighten that up after. So first thing I do is to kind of judge my line as I put one end on already. I'll screw it onto my return line on the regulator. Then I'll just bend it up. Take this piece off. This has a little ferrule. They call them an acorn or a ferrule that you use, but I like to mock it up like this. Figure out kind of roughly where it's going to go. Then I'll wrap a little bit of tape on there. Just put one wrap of tape. And then I will mark it right exactly where I want to cut it. But in this case, it's pretty much exactly in the center of that piece of tape. So I'll pull this back off. Now to cut it, you can do a number of different things. You can use shears, like hook shears. Or cable cutters, some call them. I don't like these. It doesn't provide a very good cut. Some of the cords are always hanging out, so I don't particularly care for that. I have the best luck just using a regular death wheel on a grinder. And I just cut it off with this. And then you do have a little more cleanup to do, but it is an achievable thing, and it makes a nice even cut as long as you go onto it square. If you're not square, you're gonna fight it later. So anyway, let me switch cameras here and I'll show you how I cut it. All right, so I'm gonna try it with this cutoff wheel instead. It's a 1/16, so it's thinner. Should demonstrate this quite nicely. Again, the trick is you just want to make sure you're a good square cut. Okay, that's pretty square. Now, the first thing you got to do is now make sure you don't have any debris in there. Then I'll take the just a knife or some sharp edge and just deburr the inside of it a little bit. And that's basically it. Peel the tape off. Grab your fitting. First thing you got to do, that I like to do anyway, is, well, the first thing you have to do is get the back nut on. push that down over, slide it on the tube, and that's pretty much ready to go. I didn't do a very good job with that cut. You can trim it up a little bit if you have any jagged pieces of PTFE. The PTFE, which is a Teflon product, is the white part in the middle of this hose. Now, use this tool or just a knife to spread the shielding away from the PTFE, and it also does the job of making sure the PTFE is round and not squished. So you just do that, and you put the acorn on. You got to make sure there's no braided line between the PTFE and the acorn. If you have any braided line in there, it'll leak any pieces of the stainless. So that's why it's pretty important to use a tool like this that pushes it away uniformly. Then you just push it down on square until the PTFE is right up against the inside lip of this acorn. And that looks pretty good. All right, next thing I do, and this is highly recommended, is I use a little bit of copper anti-seize on this thread. Don't get it on the nipple, but just put a little bit on that thread, and that'll keep it from galling, or, you know, it's just aluminum thread, so you got to be careful with this stuff. All right, now, so you can put a little 3-in-1 oil on this if you need to. I haven't had to with this setup, but you just push that down on until it's tight against the acorn. Then push up the nut, the backer nut, and thread it on. Then you tighten it up. Now you can use regular adjustables or wrenches or whatever you want, but the aluminum wrenches are nice because they don't mar it up. All right, there we go. And you want that pretty tight, but not enough so it'll give up the ghost. Okay, now this piece is still rotatable. This is a Evil Energy kit. Came with the hose and a bunch of fittings. I usually buy it that way because it's a lot more economical, but I'm getting quite a collection of leftover fittings, so I might not need to do that much longer. Okay, let's see. That way, when you do it that way, you know that the fittings you're getting are made for the hose that you're getting. There's different vendors of the PTFE fittings. There's different vendors of the hose. Some of them have a smooth coating on the outside to keep it from getting all dusty and dirty and make it easily cleanable. This isn't that. This is just regular PTFE hose. And again, you want the PTFE because that gives you the best chemical compatibility, and it won't break down with the gasoline and who knows what crap they're going to put in there next. So, all right, let's throw this on. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is just get my end started over here. That's snugged up. Spin this around, get this on. And again, this is the return line. It just dumps in the top of the tank. Boy, it feels weird. I think there's a piece of powder coat on the thread and it makes it feel funny. Okay. So then I will just tighten it up. Now, and you don't need to go crazy tight. And perfect, right? Now I'm going to tighten this one up. I might have to grab a regular adjustable to hold the other end, just because it's kind of tight. All right, hang on. Okay, and then I literally just give this a go. And that's that. So there's the end of the regulator, the return line, and then regulated up to the throttle, not throttle, up to the fuel rails. All right, so next I think we'll do the hard line. Oh yeah, this is the vent. This is just a little rollover valve here, and then I just put the vent directly on it. I'll probably have to remote that at some point with a piece of hose, but for right now, that keeps it sealed and keeps everything off from it. So yeah, all right, hard lines next. So doing the hard lines. I've set up 2 bulkhead AN fittings here and established a hard line between them, and then I will go soft line from that front nipple up to the fuel rails. So, and I'll take you through that when I get to it. Now I'm working on a hard line to get from here back up over to the fuel regulator. Now, if you remember, I built this little conduit through here, so I didn't have to worry about pinching this line or anything. I just threw 3 grommets on the line here, just so when I slide it through that hole, through that pipe, it won't sit there and rattle inside. And I just wanted to show you that before I put this all together. So the idea is I'm going to go through that conduit, hook this up to here, go through the conduit, and then I'll either put a fitting right on the end or I will turn it 90 degrees and then put a fitting before it goes into that. So anyway, let me continue on here. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. Line comes back. Gotta hold it out a little bit. Comes up, goes through the conduit, has some grommets in there so it can't rattle. And now I'm just going to turn it and terminate it here, and then I'll probably connect some soft line between the end and that. But that is my plan. All right, there you go. Run from the regulator up to the hard line. I cut it off flat here because my radius was going to have it too far out, but I'm not sure it was going to be any further than that. But anyway. This way, if I take it apart, I can pull that line straight out. It's all good. Again, I put the grommets inside the conduit, so this can't rattle around in there. I've got room on my brake tab for my brake line, and then it runs up to the front hardline port, and then we'll run soft line up to the fuel rails from there, through another filter to the fuel rails. So that pretty much wraps up fuel delivery. I think I want to just take a minute, however, and put the neck on the tank while I've got it right here, nice, accessible and everything. We put the neck adapter on that, and then I'll tape that all off, and I'll be ready to go. So I'll do that, and then we'll move on to the next project. Okay, so this is the neck for the fuel tank. That's the neck. That's the internal ring, and this is the gasket. Now, my buddy Wayne sent up the internal ring, so I want to make sure that's the same pattern. Perfect. Nice. Make sure it's the same pattern as this before I get on there and fight. Okay, that all looks good. And most of you probably already know the reason for this split is to put it in, but I'll show you that in a second. But let me just get all my hardware ready so I'm not fighting it when time comes. Okay, so let's see. First thing you do is you just take that little C, work it inside. And you get a hold of it, move it into position, and hopefully it comes right up through the holes. Ta-da! Then you set your O-ring on, your gasket. This is kind of, a little bit of a dexterity exercise. But I don't want to fish that ring out of there, so I'm being super cautious. Okay. There we go. Now, it's getting a little harder to hold it, but it's still not impossible. Perfect. All right, I'm just going to start a couple nuts on here, just so I don't have to sweat it. And there we go. Neck installed. Now I'll put my little nylon washers on, the other 4. Pull that up tight again and start nuts on those. That's it. It's very simple. Nice little setup, really. And again, I want to thank Wayne down there at RCI for making me such an awesome tank. I sent him a drawing. My drawing was a little tight. At the same time, he put the wings on upside down, the little brackets on the side here. And I said, I'm like, I owned it. I'm like, you know what? It's too tight. I should have been able to accommodate that. He's like, nope, my fault. Send it back. So I sent it back to him. He not only cut 3/4 of an inch off the side, which is what I asked him to do, but he also powder coated it, which makes it look awesome. I would definitely do that in the future. Super reasonable guy, super nice guy to deal with, actually. So yeah, now I'm just going to tighten these up. I'm going to get a little torque wrench so that they're all even, and that'll be that for the neck, and then it's going to tape off that top. All right. So yeah, I just brought those down nice and even to 20 inch-pounds. Starting to get a little squeeze out on my O-ring, on my gasket, so that looks good. This is how it goes together. There's a rubber hose that goes onto here, and that ties that up to the cap, which will be in the bed of the truck. And this cap is kind of a 1/4 turn deal. Just turn it down, cock it, and it holds right on. So that'll be up here somewhere in the bedwood. Yeah, pretty excited. That's looking good to me. It's going to be a neat setup. That's as low as it can go, which I think is about right. And if I need to, I can always trim a little bit off somewhere, probably off this piece, because it's got barbs on it. But I don't think I'll need to. I think that will be a very reasonable bed height right there, given everything else I got going on. Maybe a little high. We'll see. Anyway, that's how this all goes together. And I'm going to just tape up that top section there so I don't get anything in it. And I'll move on to the next project.